Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Last time we talked about the introduction of this chapter, that's Bravo Amir Agha, and today we are going to read this lesson. Okay. Up and down the streets, kite runners were returning triumphantly. Their captured kites held high. They showed them off to their parents, their friends, but they all knew the best was yet to come. The biggest prize of all was still flying. I sliced a bright yellow kite with a coiled white tail. It cost me another gash on the index finger, and blood trickled down into my palm. I had Hassan hold the string and sucked the blood dry, blotted my finger against my jeans. Within another hour, the number of surviving kites dwindled from maybe 50 to a dozen. I was one of them. I had made it to the last dozen. I knew this part of the tournament would take a while because the guys who had lasted this long were good. They wouldn't easily fall into simple traps like the old lift and dive, Hassan's favorite trick. By 3 o'clock that afternoon, tufts of clouds had drifted in and the sun had slipped behind them. Shadows started to lengthen. The spectators on the roofs bundled up in scarves and thick coats. We were down to a half dozen and I was still flying. My legs ached and my neck was stiff, but with each defeated kite, hope grew in my heart, like snow collecting on a wall, one flake at a time. My eyes kept returning to a blue kite that had been wreaking havoc for the last hour. So this is actually it starts with what? The chapter starts with we get an idea that there is something about the kite. Okay, kite flying. Okay, we get an idea that there's a kite flying competition. Okay, so let's see who has participated in this kite flying competition and who helps whom. Okay, so the narrator here is who? Amir. Okay. Up and down the streets, so all over the streets, kite runners were returning triumphantly. Triumphantly means in a way that shows great excitement about victory. So they were very excited about the victory. So all over the streets, kite runners were running. Their captured kites held high. Their kites were captured. So captured means काट देना यहाँ पर. So they were this holding their kites very high. They showed them off to their parents, their friends. So they showed these kites to their parents, to their friends. But they all knew the best was yet to come. So they knew that there was something best to come. Though we have lost the kite flying competition, but there was something best to come. Okay, the biggest prize of all was still flying. So the biggest prize means the talented kite runners, the kites of the talented kite runners. The biggest prize of all was still flying. So, but they all knew the best was yet to come. Means best was yet to come means that whoever remains till last, he is the best. They all knew, all kite runners knew that best was yet to come. The best will get revealed itself at the end. Okay. The biggest prize of all was still flying. So the kites of the talented kite runners were still flying. I sliced a bright yellow kite with a coiled white tail. So I cut a bright yellow kite with a coiled white tail. So my kite had the tail that was coiled and that was white in color, and I sliced the bright yellow kite of some other competitor. The other competitor had that bright yellow kite, and I sliced that kite into pieces. It cost me another gash on the index finger, and blood trickled down into my palm. So, what was the result when I sliced this bright yellow kite? I got a cut on the index finger, and blood trickled down into my palm. So there was all over this, the blood was all over on my hand. My hand was this drenched in blood. I had Hassan hold the string and sucked the blood dry, blotted my finger against my jeans. So when I had a cut on my finger, I told Hassan to hold the string of my kite, to hold this tail of my kite, and I sucked the blood dry, blotted my finger against my jeans. So I rubbed my hand towards the jeans and made my blood dry to stop the blood. Blotted means to press, okay, finger against my jeans. Within another hour, the number of surviving kites dwindled from maybe 50 to a dozen. So from this, within only 1 hour, the surviving kites dwindled. Dwindled means grew less in size. So the kites became less in size because जो हारता था उसकी पतंग कट जाती थी, जिसकी पतंग कट जाती थी वो हार जाता था. तो 50 से लेकर कहाँ तक ये kites पहुंची? From 50 to a dozen, from to 12. I was one of them. So I was the one of the surviving member. Okay, I was one of the surviving member, means I had not lost yet. Okay, I had made it to the last dozen, means I was one among these people. I knew this part of the tournament would take a while because the guys who had lasted this long were good. I knew that this part of a tournament, the part of the tournament where only 12 competitors were present, I knew that it will take some time because the guys who had lasted this long were good, because those guys, those competitors who had lasted this long, who had this elongated, or who had made this possible, this kite flying competition possible, मतलब जिनकी वजह से, मतलब जो पतंग कट जाती थी वो हार जाता था, लेकिन जो अच्छे थे वो रह जाते थे. उसकी वजह से क्या हुआ कि ये काइट फ्लाइंग कंपटीशन जो है ये बढ़ गया. जेठू इन कश्मीरी वी कैन से. Who had lasted this long were good. They were good competitors. They wouldn't easily fall into simple traps. So they would not fall into simple traps like the old lift and dive, Hassan's favorite trick. So they were what? They wouldn't fall easily into these traps. वो किसी जाल में फंसने वाले नहीं थे. जैसे कि old lift and dive. Lift means to move from lower position to a higher position, and then dive, and then dive. Dive means to jump. जो हसन की फेवरेट ट्रिक थी. हसन, the old and lift dive was Hassan's favorite trick, and Amir and Hassan thought that with this trick they would be able to win the competition. But the guys were very good. They were very witty. They would not easily fall into the trap of old and lift dive. I think we will stop here. Till then, stay at home. We will discuss, we will read. We will stop here. Till then, stay at home, stay safe, take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.